So you want to know my hot takes about the trans community? Come here. I'll tell you all about them. So sit back and enjoy, and hopefully you won't hate me by the end of the video. I'm gonna start the list off with a very medium level take of you don't have to have dysphoria to be trans. In many cases, especially medical ones, you have to have dysphoria to be trans. That is why you're trans, because you don't feel like you belong in the body you are. But I don't think you need that. And I'm not only talking about not having bottom dysphoria or anything. I'm talking about being completely fine with being a boy, for example. But if this person who is a boy is completely fine with being a boy, wants to be a girl, I think they should be allowed to be a girl. They don't need to have a prerequisite of dysphoria to be a girl. They just need to want it to be trans. Another thing I'm really against, and it's a ground tenet of the trans community, it's passing. I hate passing culture. I think the concept of passing is very flawed in and of itself. I have two main gripes with passing, and one of them is that you need to conform to society to pass. You need to look like a woman in the eyes of society. And me being a very queer person, I already don't like the concept of having to conform to society. And my other problem with it is it adds like this elitism thing, where if you're passing, you are a better trans person than someone who isn't. That's bullshit. I don't like the concept of passing. Moving back to the first thing, TransMeds. You might be asking, what is a transmed, Mia? And the answer is, transmed is short for transmedical, which is someone who believes that you have to have gender dysphoria or some kind of medical basis to be trans. This is what most trans healthcare is built on, and why it sucks so much, why it takes so long time, because you need to meet certain requirements to be trans. There is a big likelihood that you are probably transphobic. You're probably not taking it back a little, like, I'm trans, how can I be transphobic? What? And I don't mean to just target you, because I've seen myself fall into this trap before too. Internalized transphobia is a really big problem, and you see it all over the place. And what can be seen as simple self-deprecating can quickly turn into a transphobic effect upon others. For example, if you go into a Discord server, and then you're like, oh, I've been a year on HRT, nothing has changed, I will never be a woman, I can never be a woman, HRT won't make me into a woman. Then someone else will read that, and it will have a transphobic effect on their mind. They will feel worse about it. There is a lot more to this topic, and if you want to know about that, check out friend of the show, Shiren's channel. She made a beautiful video on this. Go watch her. Wait, don't leave just yet. Let's finish this first. This one might hit a couple of you in the audience, and I'm sorry in advance, but instead of complaining about your voice, start voice training. Just do it. Instead of spending time complaining, just voice train. I've been a victim to this myself. I've just sat there complaining about my voice, complaining about other things, and never getting anything done. But you just need to just sit down and do the hard stuff sometimes. I know it can be rough, but you got this. Okay, hear me out. Both transfems and transmasks can be femboys. This does not mean that all transmasks or all transfems are femboys. If you think that, you're crazy. But being a femboy is an identity indicator thing. And your pronouns and gender doesn't really affect it too much. It's more of a mindset and an identity. It's part of a gender in a way. So people are like, what? A transfem as a femboy? That means you're a boy? No. Shush. And on that topic, trans-masc lesbians and he-him lesbians are valid. And I do know some people will go like, what do you mean? It's a guy, it's a he-him. How can they be a lesbian? And I used to have that mindset myself back in the day too, like very rigid rules. But there's more to being a lesbian than just your pronouns. Imagine you've been a queer girl for most of your life, you've been a lesbian. Then you figure out you want to transition either into a trans-masc, trans man, non-binary, anything like that. You don't instantly become straight because you're man now. Being a lesbian is more than just women love women. It's queerness. And being straight isn't very queer, is it now? The next point connects very nicely with the previous one. Strict label definitions are shit. Like, as the lesbian thing, for example, you have to be a woman and only love women. No, it's more of an identity thing than just that. I'm a lesbian, for example. I label myself as a lesbian. That is what I feel most comfortable calling myself. But would I date a transmasc? Yes, I would. But that doesn't make that transmasc a woman at all. Would I date a guy? Yes, actually, but it really depends on the guy. I'm a lesbian because that's the term that feels most hard to me, and it's the best one for communicating what I am. But that doesn't mean I have to live by it and die by it. A label's definition shouldn't restrict you. And by that we're moving right into the next one of labels are really unnecessary. And this really depends on the usage, right? Because a label, why is it there? It is to communicate something with fewer words. Like if someone random on the street asked me my gender, I would use a label to label my gender. But if you and me sat down and had a long talk about my gender, that talk would be very long because it's very complicated for me. But for some reason, some people have gotten it into their heads that you have to live by your label and die by your label. So you have a label, it technically means this, and you can't do anything outside of that. Like, a label should not define you as a person. You yourself should define you as a person, and you can use labels to communicate, but if you use labels as like, this is my personality, I'm not really all for that. Just saying. It's fine if you do, I'm just not that hyped over it. Next one, simple. You don't have to understand a gender for it to be valid. There is many complex genders out there, and sometimes one might go like, oh, that's just that gender. No, it's not. You don't have to fully understand a gender for it to be valid. If a gender is based on a demigirl dragon person, you don't fucking have to understand it. It's a gender. You don't have to understand how someone is a dragon in some way. It's fine. They're living their life and they're not harming you, so it doesn't matter. If you're agreeing with me on this, I think you should probably subscribe if you aren't already, because we will get along great. Next one is detransitioning is valid. This is a very sore topic for some trans people, because they get hurt by people detransitioning. But if someone figures out that they're trans, takes HRT and then realizes, oh shit, I made a mistake, they should be allowed to turn back and detransition. But this only counts if the detransitioner is just a normal person. If someone detransitions and then starts grifting against trans people, fuck them. This next take is aimed towards the medical system, especially the Norwegian trans medical system. Autism does not make you trans. This is probably the case in multiple countries, but here in Norway, if you want a trans diagnosis, which you need to get HRT, and you have autism, it's gonna be so much harder. Why is it like this? Because for some reason, they think that if you have autism, you being trans is just some kind of hyperfixation, and you're not actually trans. And since you have autism, you can't make choices for your own body, because you're not smart enough. What the fuck is this kind of take? Genuinely, what the fuck? I'm not diagnosed with anything, but there's a high likelihood from what I can see that I might have autism, and I will get that checked out soon enough. But that doesn't make me being trans less valid, healthcare system. And even if it was that way, if every person with autism all of a sudden was trans, that doesn't mean you shouldn't give them healthcare. Like, if autism made you trans, you still need to just, like, treat the trans person as a human. Genuinely, I hate the current system of trans healthcare. It's so stupid. Another really big gripe for me is queer people who hate on other people because their identities. Like hating on fairyants or hating on furries or whatever it should be. Like, honestly, you are a minority. You should stand with your fellow minorities. And you should understand that if you're queer and have a special identity, everyone else who has something similar, or a special identity anyway, is valid. No matter if you're queer or not, hating people because their identities is just cringe. Like, let's not do that. It's 2025, let's get it over with. Sucking up to transphobes for their affirmations on you being a girl is some of the stupidest shit I've ever seen. Like, don't be one of the good ones, honestly. Don't like, oh yeah, I'm such a girl, I'm doing it perfectly, not the ones over there. There is some trans people, and I get so frustrated about it, that complain about other trans people because they're not conforming enough. So they're like sucking up towards the alt-right, all that stuff, trying to get accepted by people who hate them, and they will just throw these people under the bus the second they're rid of us. Liking Harry Potter as a trans person is stupid. Like, not only is J.K. Rowling, like, a raging transphobe, genuinely one of the worst people on the planet in my opinion, Harry Potter in it of itself is a bad universe. Like, genuinely look into this stuff. You have the happy slave theory, with slaves, like the house elves, being happy for working for their masters. The bankers is literally the entire Jews control the banks theory. And like, the bankers are made to be a racist caricature of Jews type, like what the no-no Germans used once upon a time. It's genuinely messed up. It's a bad franchise. There's plenty of good magic franchises. Just go find another one. People ask if they pass without being on HRT, while clearly not passing. Where do I even begin? Either people have to hugbox them and be like, girl, you're passing so hard, while everyone knows they're lying and they will just be like, no, I'm not passing at all. Or someone's honest and they will feel bad. Like, if you're not on HRT, there is really low chances you're actually passing. especially if you haven't grown out your hair and done a bunch of things to look inherently feminine or masculine, depending on your situation, of course. And that's okay. That's genuinely okay. Being trans is a transition. It takes a while. And nobody should expect you to look like your preferred gender within no time at all. And yes, I wish we could just and it would look perfect. But it takes time, and HRT is needed in many cases. Just be patient and be kind to yourself. Because you don't even need to pass to feel pretty. Thank you for watching me yap. Drop a subscribe, drop a like, maybe even a comment if you feel like it. Also, big thanks to my Buy Me a Coffee supporters, River and Romelia Vixen. You two are amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.